Hello everyone. Good evening or good afternoon, wherever you're at. Najumu here, and welcome to TYRION CUTHBERT, Attorney of the Arcane. So, last time around, we actually were almost going to finish Case 4, but it turns out that now we have a monkey in the witness stand, and he can actually talk. It's quite a strange development, and apparently this monkey, who is Eugene, is kind of responsible for the central murder that happened in this chapter, which is the murder of William Frege. And seems like his how can I say this? He's the familiar to Harold Haraldson. And people initially thought that, hey, Harold Haraldson is the guy who actually told Eugene in order to kill him, because, you know, Eugene is familiar. But no, turns out that he did it on his own free will. So now we're going to put him on the witness stand, and I'm going to try to press him in order to get the truth out of him. Anyway, let's see who is in the chat today. Hello, Neko. Hello, Crid. Hello, Rayquaza and Stranger. Hello. Yes, I have just started. Apologies for the bit of a delay, like an 8-minute loading time, because, you know, I was doing a few things IRL. Was trying to finish up a few things IRL before we start. But yeah, with that said, let's continue, shall we? Okay, let me just try to fix something first before we get to start. Okay, yeah, the music is a little more dramatic as usual. Let me see, the music might be a little bit loud. Let me just lower it a little bit. And I think you guys can see the text hopefully fine. Okay, maybe I need to resize myself a little bit. Just a moment. Just so I can see the word present. There we go. Yeah, that's a lot better. That's a lot better. All right, so let's read each one and try to press Eugene regarding his statement. So I just started, so came to say hi. See you soon. Okay, stranger. I'll see you a little bit later if you're gonna show up. But take care, buddy.
I'll admit that I took the armbands and replaced them with a replica, but I was not the crook who stole the sword of spell eating.
You stole the armbands by using Harold's spoken password, am I correct?
Yes, I sit on his shoulder most of the time. He obviously never suspected me what I do, so it was a simple matter of listening to him when he transported the artifacts to Frege Manor.
And can I assume that you knew the passwords for the other displays as well?
I do. I can easily demonstrate it.
I doubt he'd lie about that when you can easily check it. Even so, you already lied about not stealing the armbands. Why should we believe you now?
The answer to that lies in the physical evidence. Thefts were completely different from one another. The display case for the sword was completely shattered.
How do we know that you didn't shatter the glass to cover your tracks?
Harold's password nullifies the locks, but they don't nullify the magic that protects the glass. Harold told you himself, didn't he? Only a powerful mage could have shattered the reinforced glass.
But as a familiar, magic can be cast through you.
Only Harold can cast magic through me. I can't cast any spells by myself. And even if I could, Harold's spell compendium doesn't have a spell that's powerful enough for that.
His logic is sound. But if what he's saying is true, who shattered the glass?
Anyways, I spotted the sword when I was exploring the manor. It was lying in the middle of a hallway.
That location was near the Frege's bedrooms. Don't tell me that you...
What do you take me for? I know what a bedroom looks like, and I'd never enter one uninvited.
Then why were you there in the first place?
I was coming back from the rooftop garden, but I suddenly felt something interfering with the armband's magic.
The anti-magic fields?
Yes. I was worried that something had happened, so I made my way back to the gallery to meet up with Harold.
I see. Could you add this to your testimony?
Very well. I wondered why such an important artifact would be lying there, so I took a closer look to inspect it.
And that's when you made contact with it?
Yes, I was quite surprised too. At the time, the magic of the armbands was being nullified. But when I picked up the sword, my intelligence finally returned. That's how I knew I was holding the sword of spell eating. That's when I heard Harold call out to me telepathically. The sword must have protected me and Harold from the anti-magic field.
Was this the first time he tried to contact you this night?
No. He had telepathically messaged me earlier that night. But I was so absorbed in my exploration that I ignored him.
He was absorbed into his exploration? That really caused him to ignore a call from Harold?
I wanted to take the sword and return it, but a wild dog chased me away from the scene.
Didn't you have enough time to grab the sword? You were holding it after all.
I'm not proud to admit it, but my survival instincts took over. At that point, I was more concerned about escaping that wild animal.
You suppose that makes sense. Tracker is several times larger than him. He had every reason to be afraid. His story makes sense. There's no way he could have shattered the glass. I suppose so, but Tracker saw him that night. He was definitely traversing the vents in that hallway, which means he lied somewhere in his testimony. Alright, it's time to, it's big brain thinking time, so... Let's see, I was not the crook who stole the sword of spell eating. So let's look at the things here. On the night of the murder, Tracker smelled something strange and followed the scent to the hallway north of Beatrice's bedroom. He saw a flying rat come out of the northern air vent. Tracker barked at this rat and scared it away. When this happened, the rat supposedly dropped the sword of spell eating. Let's see what he has to say. I think I have a good guess. Was it actually lying in the middle of the hallway? There we go. That's right. Eugene, I'm sure you're well aware of this, but the best way to lie is to hide a false detail within many truths.
And what are you trying to insinuate, Mr. Cuthbert?
You said that you were heading from the terrace to the gallery. Did you take any detours?
Of course not. With the armbands nullified, my intelligence was slowly fading. I wanted to return to Harold as soon as possible.
Witness, I'd like you to take a look at this floor map of the Frege Manor. This is the location where that wild dog found the sword of spell eating. So tell me, Eugene, how did you spot the sword of spell eating when it was hidden in the hallway north of Beatrice's room?
That's...
Why are you nitpicking on such an insignificant statement? He probably got distracted and went down the wrong hallway. Miss Tamora, Eugene came from the rooftop garden, and he was adamant that he went directly to the gallery to reunite with Harold. Even if his intellect was muddled, he was intent on reuniting with his worried companion. He definitely took the direct route, but if he did, he would have never been able to see into that hallway. I see your point, Mr. Cuthbert, but what does this mean? It means that the witness lied about where he was before he discovered the sword of spell eating. He wasn't coming from the rooftop garden. He came from the air vents in that specific hallway. So why were you in that hallway, Eugene? You lied in your testimony. Was it because you wanted to hide what you're really doing that night? Admit it, Eugene. You snuck through the air vents to avoid detection. Then you used the air vent in that hallway to break into William's study. After that, you murdered him using the letter opener, didn't you?
That's not what I went there to do. No, I didn't mean.
Order! Order in the court! Witness, is this true? Did you break into William Frega's study during the lockdown?
Yes, I did enter his study, but not for the reason you think. William Frega was already dead when I got there.
What? Oh, hello, Mercury. Welcome. What did you just say?
It's true.
Do you honestly expect us to believe a story like that? How could someone else have killed the victim before you got there? Tracker took the sword of spell eating, and you were the only intelligent creature that could walk through the air vents.
I understand how unbelievable and suspicious it sounds. Do you think I lied in the first place? But it's the truth, Mr. Cuthbert. You have to believe me.
I don't see any contradicting thoughts to his eye, but that hardly absolves him of guilt. But could he really be telling the truth? If that's true, that only brings you back to the one question you've been asking since this all began. Who really did this? Okay, Eugene, let's assume you're telling the truth.
Do you actually believe me?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. You're still my only suspect for this. But I know better than anyone about jumping to conclusions. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt for now.
I see.
However, if you want to absolve yourself, I need you to tell me what you really saw that night. There might be something, anything that might point to who really did this.
Very well. I'll tell you what I saw, although I doubt you'll believe me.
Alright.
I discreetly made my way to the hallway through another air vent. I exited the air vent in that hallway and tried to leap to the other side. Not sure if it was my waning intelligence or my desperation, but I collided with something that I didn't see. I fell to the ground and found the sword of spell eating laying next to me. I wanted to retrieve the sword, but that wild dog forced me to retreat. After that, I continued to make my way to the study, and that's when I found William Frega. He was dead on the floor and lying in a pool of blood. As if I were blessed by the Scarlet Lord himself, I found the will that he was drafting, so I destroyed it.
Frankly, Mr. Harrelson, I find that story very difficult to believe.
Oh, hey, ARCANE, welcome.
I assumed as much. But you know what they say? Truth is stranger than fiction.
Isn't it more likely that you murdered the victim? You're clearly trying to cover up what you did by saying that he was already dead. Honestly, I really don't know what to think. Is he really telling the truth? Alright, time to cross-examine again. But why were you there in the first place?
It all began when William Freya got into an argument with Harold. That cur wanted to defund the prestigious Harrelson Hall of History. I knew a man like William had probably had many secrets. So I devised a plan to break into his study and find something that could use to blackmail him. As you know, there is a small air vent in that hallway, and it connected to William's study on the ground floor. I wasn't aware that William was planning to stay in his study all night, so I thought I could look through his documents without anyone seeing me.
You suppose that does make sense. But is he really telling the truth? What happened when you tried to leap to the other air vent, Eugene? Alright. I thought monkeys were extremely dexterous. Are you just clumsy?
I have impeccable dexterity.
Sounds like you struck a nerve there.
I must have been muddled from losing the armband's magic.
How did you know it was the sword of spell eating?
When I held it in my hands, I felt my intelligence return. But I also heard Harold calling out to me telepathically.
Oh hey, Walk, welcome. It's been a minute, yeah. Hope you're doing well.
He was clearly growing worried, so I knew I needed to move quickly.
Did this wild dog have a white coat of fur?
He did. Are you acquainted with him?
Something like that.
Well, next time you meet him, tell him that I don't appreciate being called a rat. I'm a proud orangutan.
Can understand him?
I picked up a little of the canine language throughout my life. I'm also fluent in squirrel and pigeon. I can also speak owl, but I admit it's barely conversational.
As much as you want to test the validity of those claims, they're not relevant to the case. What happened when you entered the study? Alright, let's talk to him. It seems awfully convenient that he was murdered before you arrived.
I know how it may seem, but I'm telling you the truth.
And do you have any explanation for how the assailant broke into the study without the sword?
I, unfortunately, do not.
Please, it's obvious your testimony doesn't match up with the evidence. Whoever did this entered through the vents, or they used the sword to nullify the lock. And your own testimony states that the sword was abandoned in that hallway. It doesn't match up with what you thought happened. But does it really contradict the evidence you have? Anyways, what did you do when you discovered the body?
I knew it was only a matter of time before someone discovered the body, so I quickly searched the room for something I could use.
So you were the one who took the will. I've been trying to find it. What did it say?
I was pressed for time, so I didn't read the entire document. But I found an order to his executor to defund the Haraldson Hall of History. Since he went out of his way to specify on that current copy, I concluded that his former will didn't have this addendum.
So you could save Harold's museum by making sure it never got submitted for probate. Anyways, do you have the will with you?
My apologies. I crumpled the will into a ball and ate it. I then left the room before my intelligence was completely gone.
Ugh. We're really hoping to see if William followed through on his threat to disinherit Beatrice. It's hard to believe, but you can't see any direct contradictions. Should you press him more? But what if he's telling the truth? If Eugene did do this, your next course of action is clear. Although, that still wouldn't explain how Beatrice fits into this. You recall something that Tracker said to you. Tracker, you said you had to smell to see where the rat was. And when he dropped his stick, you were finally able to see him. Does this mean you couldn't visually see him before he fell down? Yeah, Tracker couldn't see the rat with his eyes, so Tracker used his nose to see it. Eugene was invisible. Eugene, when you were carrying out your plan, did you turn yourself invisible somehow?
No, I hardly had the means to. And even if I had somehow convinced Harold to cast a spell on me, he doesn't know how to cast invisibility. Very few mages do.
Right. You recall Eris saying the same thing during the Nightgrave trials. Only a master of illusion magic could do that. That's how you first thought Beatrice was involved. But if Eugene is truly innocent, did she turn someone else invisible? But if that's true, you're right back where you started again. No. Think through this. Eugene's testimony fills in a blank that's been missing.
I fell to the ground and found the sword of spell eating laying next to me.
How do you know it was the sword of spell eating?
When I held it in my hands, I felt my intelligence return, but I also heard Harold calling out to me telepathically. He was clearly growing worried, so I knew I needed to move quickly. I wanted to retrieve the sword, but that wild dog forced me to retreat. After that, I continued to make my way to the study.
And what happened when you cross-referenced that with Tracker's testimony?
That's when Tracker smelled flying rat. Tracker could smell where Rat was, so Tracker pork at him. Tracker must have scared Rat, because he fell onto the floor and dropped his stick.
How did the sword of spell eating end up in that hallway? So where does that lead us? No, he fell to the ground. Okay. The rat dropped the sword. The thief dropped the sword in the hallway, yes. The thief dropped the sword in that hallway. But how does that make sense? Did they hide the sword like you originally thought? No, that hallway was close to the gallery. There were plenty of better places to hide the sword. If it weren't for Tracker taking it, it would have been found even sooner. The thief must have accidentally dropped the sword there. This can only mean one thing. Why was the thief in that hallway? The thief... let's see. Was tunneling through the air vents? I think so. No. The hallway leads toward the bath. I think a very little reason why the thief would be walking there. There's another explanation why they were at that specific location. Yes, there we go. Sneaking. Yes, not crawling. He was sneaking. The thief was also sneaking through the air vents. That's the only reason why they would be there. That would imply that the thief was as small as Eugene. Could it have been another familiar? If so, why didn't Eugene notice them? Wait.
I'm not sure if it was my waning intelligence or my desperation, but I collided with something that I didn't see.
He collided with something he didn't see. In other words, it was something that wasn't visible to him. And as a master of illusion magic, Beatrice is one of the few people at the ball that could cast invisibility. Beatrice would never trust anyone to work together like this. But she's completely blind. She wouldn't have much of a choice. Even so, she's not the type of person to trust her accomplice to stay quiet. She'd find a way to carry out a plan herself, and she'd only employ someone else's help if she had full control of them. Have you been approaching this situation incorrectly the entire time? Through the eye, you knew that Beatrice was involved somehow, but you just assumed that she was one part of a larger plot. Breaking of the glass and the casting of invisibility. These were the elements that you knew she was involved with. They never really fit together. Not unless she was the one pulling the strings the entire time. There was only one way she could be in control the entire time. What did Beatrice use to commit the murder? The sword? Yeah. Wait, hold up. Let's check the spells. Let's see. Celeste sword? Nah. Alright. Let's see. Would it be the... No. Invisibility? No, she can't kill someone with invisibility. That doesn't make any sense. A couple of memories flood into your mind.
A familiar is a creature that a mage has formed a magical contract with. With that contract, our souls are bonded. I can speak with him telepathically. I could even see through his eyes and cast my spells through him if I wanted to.
Really? I never knew a spell like that existed.
It's quite rare. Very few mages take the time to learn how to cast it.
Hi, I'm TYRION CUTHBERT. I'm Miss Tamora's ward. Extend out your hand to shake hers. She has an aristocratic air to her, so you hope you're not being too informal. Instead of taking your hand, she claps her hands together and takes a deep breath. What? Sorry. I didn't mean to do that. It was a bit of a habit of mine. Oh. Nevertheless, she finally shakes your hand. I've heard much about you, Mr. Cuthbert. My name is Beatrice. You didn't know that she was blind back then, so you barely even noticed it. How did she know that you were holding out your hand? Oh.
Well, do you have any other questions for me?
You're wrong about this. Beatrice will surely be acquitted. And after that, the Inquisition will turn their attention to Harold and Eugene. But there's only one way to know for sure. Your Honor, the prosecution has no further questions for the current witness. He is dismissed. What?
I see.
You have something else planned, don't you? Yeah, and I actually need your help. Really? You tell her about your plan. Really? I feel like you're making some big assumptions there. Wouldn't the Inquisition check for something like that? I know. It's the best play we have. Do you remember what Steelwind said yesterday? But the moment the guards saw the body, one of them cast Detect Magic. With that spell, they would have seen any invisible people hiding in this room. Wait, you can use Detect Magic like that? Of course, it's standard procedure. Like all spells, invisibility leaves traces of magic on the person it's cast on. So mages can use Detect Magic as a way to see through invisibility. If everything goes the way I think it will, you'll be able to confirm its location. Once you do that, you just need to reveal it to everyone. All right, I'll follow your lead then.
So, Mr. Cuthbert, how do we proceed? Your previous witness brought about more revelations than I could have ever guessed. However, you still haven't given a substantial explanation about how the murder occurred or who actually did it.
I understand that, Your Honor. It will all make sense after I call my next witness.
Another witness?
I understand your hesitance, Your Honor. Everything that we learned through these trials is finally coming together. And this final witness will tie it all together in a perfect knot. Your Honor, the prosecution calls Beatrice Frege to the stand. Seriously, Cuthbert? You went to all that trouble just to end up calling my client to the stand? You and your client have the right to refuse, Miss Tamora. But I wonder how that will reflect on your client's character. Doesn't really matter. She's already standing here with Miss Tamora. You can carry out your plan regardless of what she decides to do. It will have much more impact if you can bait her into lying onto the stand. My client says that she's willing to testify. However, we would like to propose a short recess. With these new developments, I'm sure you can understand that we have much to discuss.
I see no reason not to grant the defense's request.
Is this really okay? If we give them the time to prep, they might realize what we're doing.
No, I don't think we have anything to worry about. We've been building a psychological profile of Beatrice since this case began. It's hard to read her expression and emotions, even with the Eye of Horus. She keeps herself guarded and keeps her true intentions unknown. She's powerful, more powerful than her father even ever cared to admit. Despite this, he tried to control her and put her inside a cage. But Beatrice Frege would never live in a cage. She wanted freedom and control, and she would do whatever it took to get it. You're sure the accident that blinded her didn't help things. When everything was said and done, she abandoned everything. Her wealth, her status, her family. She could have waited. She could have gritted her teeth until it was her turn to lead House Frege. If she was willing, she could have even secretly pushed her father past the gates of death herself. But she couldn't bear to live like that, even temporarily. I have no idea why this is how she chose to do that. Perhaps it had something to do with their meeting. But you do know one thing. Beatrice Frege will never put herself in a position of vulnerability. If you endanger her freedom, she will make sure that she can see who she's up against. In the interest of giving the defense time to deliberate, we will be taking an extended recess. Court is adjourned. As you were exiting a courtroom, you sent Celeste to do some reconnaissance, I'm sorry. It should be similar to when she scanned Valentina during the Nightgrave trial. Tyrion! Celeste, were you able to see it? Yeah, it's definitely there, and it sits on her shoulder most of the time. So she keeps it close to her. That's good to know. It looks kind of weird though, but I've never used detect magic like this before. Well, you doubt that someone like her would choose a conventional animal, especially for something like this. Cuthbert? Miss Tamora? There's something I need to show you. Preferably alone. Celeste gives you a concerned look, but you nod to show her it's okay. She moves to sit on the bench where she can keep an eye on Beatrice. Okay, lead the way. Yes. Yeah, we're still not done yet. Miss Tamora leads you out of the courthouse and into the city. Every time you ask her where she's taking you, she avoids answering your question. Alright, we're here. You arrive at an empty alley in the frankly seedier part of the city. As Miss Tamora approaches one of the derelict buildings, she's met with a large, burly man who's guarding the back door. The man silently acknowledges her and steps aside to let her in. Miss Tamora? Where are we going? I'm sorry about this. I'm sure you're confused. But please trust me. I'll explain everything. Before you have a chance to ask for more information, she moves into the building. The man guarding the door looks at you expectantly. The entire situation doesn't sit right with you, but you still continue to follow her. Despite your recent disagreements, you know you can trust her. As you head further into the building, you find yourself in a surprisingly well-furnished room. From how it looked outside, you would have never guessed that it would look like this. It almost looks like a room that you'd encounter at the Frege Manor. As you enter the room, you spot several mercenaries standing at various points in the room. And most surprisingly, you see Eris standing at the end of the room. Ah, there she is. You give her a confused look. but she simply smiles and waves at you. Sitting at the desk near her, you see a man with an eye patch. Looks like he's been expecting you. Ah, Tibora. Upon seeing you two, he cordially welcomes Miss Tamora before turning his attention to you. And you must be Tyrion. Tibora has told me a lot about you. I see. But who are you? I've been called many names over the years, but my favorite has always been the Eye Taker. Occupation, the Eye Taker. I'll go take a listen to Viva Torado by Fifth Dimension and Respect Yourself by Staple Singer. Alright, see you soon, Mercury. Take care. Thanks for coming. The Eye Taker. From the sounds of it, you've already heard of me. Miss Tamora, what is this? My daughter Eris has told me all about your work prosecuting this case. She's his daughter? But I have to say, I'm quite impressed. Getting a monkey to testify? I don't think I can even pull off a grift like that. You've pretty much blown past my expectations. Why, okay. Have fun watching Hotline Miami, Jacket. Thank you for coming, I guess. That was weird. Get to the point. As soon as you interrupt him, you feel every person in the room tenses up. You don't even need the eye to know that your interruption put them on the edge. Relax, everyone. Kids will be kids. I'm a father myself, you know. Anyways, I'll get straight to the point. I have a certain interest in the outcome of this trial. What are you talking about? Little Lady Freyga has been a client of ours over a long time. I've done quite a lot of favors for her, and the time has finally come for me to collect. These depths that Steelwind mentioned, they all belong to me. But there is no need to worry. No, she is good for it. That is, if she can inherit House Freyga. What? Timur is a good attorney, even without my help. If she's convicted, could easily reduce her sentence by rubbing the right hands. But you see, there is that pesky Slayer rule. The thing is, Cuthbert, I need Beatrice Freyga to be acquitted in the current trial. So that's what this is about? House Freyga's gold? That's why you helped her murder William Freyga? Please, my goals aren't nearly so short-sighted. I have big plans, not just for Beatrice, but for this entire kingdom. I need House Freyga for that. Just like how you needed Justin Way. Tyrion? Ah, Justin. Really a shame what happened to him. Don't act so innocent. He would have never tried to rob Drac again if you didn't threaten him. Is that so? Do you think I just randomly showed up on his doorstep one day, demanding gold? He was the one who came to me for help. I just told him to pay back what he owed. If he hadn't come to me, it would have been some other criminal. But that's beside the point. Enough about what I wanted from Justin. Let's talk about what I want from you. You want me to throw the case? Ah, I love this kid. I don't have to beat around the bush with this one. No one will doubt you, especially considering the amount of work you put into this already. You don't need to do anything. Just take a dive. Let someone else take the fall? No matter what happens, the court will blame someone for this. If it makes you feel better, I can assign Timora to defend the old man and his monkey. That way everyone can come out of this unharmed. Everyone wins. Except for the fact that a murderer will be put in charge of House Freyga. Please. As if that's any worse than the people in charge of the other noble houses. If you recall, there's already a murderer in charge of the House von Sanctus. They're all dirty.
You've seen it, haven't you? They rig the system. They pay, threaten, or even kill people to get their way. All we're doing is leveling the playing field.
Tyrion, please, just listen to him. How can you just go along with this? I told you a long time ago that there were certain parts of my job that I couldn't tell you about. Well, this is it. This is what we need to do to beat them. Those rumors about you, they're all true, aren't they? Forgery, bribery, blackmail, you're guilty of each and every one of them. You used him to do it, also you could keep winning. You blackmailed Miriam, Miss Timora. Oh, as if we should show any pity for that spoiled princess. A dreadful thought just entered your mind. Steelwind. She was attacked the day after Beatrice was arrested. Was that? I didn't know that's what they were planning. Despite my confidence in Timora's skills, I'm afraid there was too much riding on this to leave it to chance. You've got to make your own luck if you want to beat the system. How could you? She almost died. We never expected her to strain her injuries like that. We definitely didn't expect you to take her place. So believe me when I say that I'm being uncharacteristically reasonable right now. How? How could you even consider working with someone like him? Don't you think it's a little arrogant to judge her, Cuthbert? What? You talk about defending people as if you two are even close to being equals. But she doesn't have the luxury of looking into people's minds, now does she? You told him about the Eye of Horus? The future of magic is changing, kid. Like I said before, I have plans for this kingdom. And I also have big plans for you. You think I would ever... Tyrion, stop! To be honest, I hate it as much as you do. Whether you like it or not, we need their help. But this is... Think about every client you defended. Think of Celeste. If you didn't have the Eye of Horus, what would have happened to her? If even one thing went differently, Pierce would have gotten away and Celeste would have been executed. You've taken chances and followed your instincts, and that worked for you so far. But what if it's not enough? What if the system is too corrupt for you to fight against next time? With the Eye Taker's help, you will never have to worry about that again. If I had accepted his help sooner, I could have saved your mother. So what's it going to be, kid? I already know about what happened to that Steelwind brat. So I don't need to tell you what will happen if you don't play ball. Wait! No. What? Maybe you're right. Maybe I can't always win against the nobility unless I play dirty like they do. This is wrong. Tyrion? I'm not going to compromise my principles. Not even for you, Miss Timora. I'm sorry to hear you say that, kid. I really am. With one motion of his hand, every mercenary in the room draws their weapons. Whoa, this is escalating pretty hard right now. Please, you don't have to do this. Whatever conviction you had before is slowly fading. You should have never entered this place. You knew something was off. There are about a dozen mercenaries here, and there's even more guarding the way out. You're nowhere near as physically strong as Celeste. Maybe you can make a break for it if you get lucky. No. Celeste? What the? How did you get in here? My whole job is to keep this guy safe. And you honestly think that I just let you take him to an undisclosed location? It doesn't matter. As if one girl will make a difference. Well, what are you all waiting for? Is that really her? On seeing Celeste, the mercenaries cautiously step back. No one wants to make the first move. This monstrous aura.
It has to be her. The hell are you doing? You have her surrounded.
Despite his command, no one takes a step forward.
Goddamn Celeste. She's cooking.
Look, let's all just sit down and talk about this rationally. I think it's a little too late for rationality, Ruby.
Uh-oh, now that Eris is here, she's gonna probably mess things up.
Perhaps a different approach is warranted here, Father.
What?
Could I have the opportunity to speak with Mr. Cuthbert? I believe I can make him see things our way.
I'm sorry, sweetie, but I just... Oh, she did it again. Well, you've never been wrong before. I leave them to you, love.
Shall we go, you two?
Celeste silently watches Eris with her sword drawn. Unlike the mercenaries, Eris seems unmoved. She merely walks past her and out of the exit. You and Celeste exchange glances and follow after her.
Oh boy, this is not going to go well.
That was close.
Don't think I could have fought the whole room while protecting you. Does that mean she could have fought them if she were alone?
You two are really courageous to a fault, aren't you?
Eris, I appreciate you vouching for us, but I'm not changing my mind about this.
Oh, I'm well aware of that. Why do you think I intervened?
Oh, hey, Eri, welcome! I'm not sure if you're familiar with this game, but if you're familiar with Ace Attorney, this game is strongly inspired from it. You might enjoy it if you want to give it a shot.
Oh, well, thank you. Is this really okay? Won't your dad be mad? I should be asking Tyrion that same question. You've seen your adoptive mother's true colors and rejected them. How are the two of you going to move forward? She's not my... Isn't she, though? She lost any right to deny it the moment she took upon herself to raise you. She only did that because I asked her to. Wasn't her choice. Oh, but it was. How old were you when your real mother was executed? 10 years old? Eris! Back then, you barely knew Timora. It would be a stretch to even call her a family friend. She was the adult in that situation, and what did she do? She fed your anger and hatred for the nobility, instead of allowing you to process your grief healthily. Timora took you away from your friends and isolated you from society. She even homeschooled you, didn't she? That's... As a result, you never formed any other relationships. You made your first close friend at the age of 20, and she was your client. Don't you think that's a bit sad? She isolated you because she wanted to use you. That's not true. That's not why she... From what I've seen today, you clearly have no idea who Timora is. One with the Eye of Horus, you're clearly a terrible judge of character. Eris, you're going way too far. To save you from more heartache, let me just give you one last piece of advice. Eris leans in really close to you and begins to whisper into your ear. Do you honestly think Celeste will ever love you? What? I'm sure you'll understand now. Timora can only afford to pay her exorbitant salary because of my father. You've already burned that bridge, so where do you think the Crimson Demon will go when you can't afford her services anymore? No, she's not... With Flintheart dead, she has to worry about her mother. Do you think she has the luxury of playing around with you for free? Or did you actually think that she enjoys spending time with you? Tyrion, you have to look at this rationally. Any support or affection that she's given you has only been to keep you as an employer.
You seem to know a lot about these things.
I had to do a lot of networking when I was a mercenary. Do you know how many times I had to charm a merchant into hiring me?
Why are you doing this?
Because I want to finally break you.
I'm just trying to keep you from getting hurt. May seem cruel, but you have to be realistic about these things. You trusted Timora and she betrayed you. Try not to make the same mistake twice. Celeste didn't hear anything she said. She seems to notice how it's affecting you. Eris, that's enough. Ah, my apologies. I've been told that I've been too blunt sometimes. But I do hope you'll think about what I said. Anyways, the trial should be starting soon. We should make our way back to the courthouse. I'm genuinely curious to see how this trial ends. Hey, Tyrion, are you okay? What did she say to you? She reaches for your hand, but you instinctively yank it away from hers. Tyrion? Sorry, I didn't mean to. I'm okay, really. Okay. Is he mad at me? You can think about everything else later. For now, you know what you need to do. You need to convict Beatrice Freya. Alright, we're back into the courtroom. Damn. I wonder what is, like, the central reason why Eris is doing all this to Tyrion. She is desperate and trying to break him mentally and probably physically as well. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, we'll have to wait and see because, yeah, she's not good news at all. Court is now resumed for the trial of Beatrice Freya. Is the defendant prepared to take the stand? Timora, I asked you a question. Is the defendant prepped or not? She is. The prosecution still wants to move forward with. The prosecution will be moving forward with this. Please bring in the witness. Do you still see it, Celeste? Yeah, it's still there. Should I reveal it now? No, let's really make a point of it. Wait for my signal. Thank you for agreeing to take the stand, Miss Freya. Mr. Cuthbert, it's my understanding that you were with the two princes for most of the night. Yes, I was. Which is why I'm still quite confused as to why I'm being charged for this crime. Out of everyone there that night, I have thought my alibi was most solid. That remains to be seen. Clearly. Anyways, since you still maintain your innocence, you'll have no problem going into detail about your supposed alibi. Alright. As you know, I was with the Crown Prince Aster and Prince Ulrich for most of the ball. I went there after meeting with my father, and I remained with them until I was arrested for his murder. Lord Seawind and the Kingsguard kept watch over me for the entire night as well. I neither had the means nor the opportunity to steal a sword of spell eating and break into my father's study to murder him. Objection! Oh, already? And that, Miss Freya, is where you're mistaken. You definitely had the means to commit both crimes while under the eye of everyone there that night. The most effective tool an attorney has is revealing a contradiction in witness's testimony. It not only completely shatters your opponent's argument, it also makes the court doubt whether the witness is acting in good faith. Usually, you've used evidence to reveal contradictions like this. Now, Celeste! Aburrido! Aburrido! Wait, what are you doing? It's a devil! It's a small devil or a demon. Your Honor, the witness's testimony is clearly... Oh my God, what the hell is that thing? Tyrion, get behind me. A monster! It's a monster! Someone call the Inquisition, the Kingsguard, anyone. Your Honor, can you please restore order? He's gone. Of course he was scared. Your Honor?
Yeah, he fled out the back door the moment he saw me.
It can talk? It's a demon. It must be. It's just like the legends say. Can Can we all just calm down? It takes a while before you can get everyone in the room to settle down. Eventually, it was clear the demon wasn't intent on harming anyone. At least not yet. The court ordered extra guards just in case. They were eventually able to bring everyone back into the courtroom.
Mr. Cuthbert, what is the meaning of this?
Sorry, I didn't know it was a... Actually, what are you?
Are you a demon? Why, yes, I am a demon.
Demons actually exist? I thought they were only a legend. Your Honor, not only do demons exist, the defendant has made one into her familiar. She's only blind in the literal sense. She's constantly looking through the eyes of her familiar to see. And? What do you mean, and? It's pretty obvious that making a pact with a demon is incriminating by itself. Tell me, Your Honor, do the laws of Wyverngard prohibit entering on accord with a demon?
They don't, but...
And my client has committed no crime. Even so, I really would have preferred not revealing Maronath like that. Maronath? Is that your name?
It's what most people call me.
I suppose you have a point, Timora. Having a demon as your familiar isn't technically illegal. However, this does prove that the defendant had a way to commit the murder, all while under the eye of everyone in the ballroom. She could have sent Maronath upstairs to the gallery and had him steal the sword of spell eating. After that, they would just need to traverse the vents into William's study, just like Eugene did that night. The fact that her familiar is a demon proves that she couldn't have done that. Do you mean? You saw how everyone reacted when they saw Maronath's form. A monkey may have raised some eyebrows, but someone surely would have reported Maronath if they saw him. Well, there comes the invisibility magic, don't forget. Timora, your client is a master of illusion magic, and I assume that we'll find invisibility in her spell compendium? You might. With a connection granted by familial bond, she could have cast the spell on him regardless of where each of them was. I'll admit that my client does know how to cast invisibility. But your theory raises another question. Could my client continue casting it unnoticed? Continue casting it? You'll understand once I go over the order of events that night. At an unknown time, someone stole the sword of spell eating from the Haraldson Gallery. Due to the timing of this, I'll admit that it would be logically consistent if my client was the thief. However, sometime later, my client met with the Crown Prince and was watched closely by the King's Guard. From witnesses' accounts, including yours, we know that this happened at 12:45 a.m. And since this time, my client didn't leave the King's Guard's sight. It was around this time that William Frege retreated into his study and locked the door. He made a point of telling everyone that he didn't want to be disturbed. Then at 1:03 a.m., Lord Haraldson finally discovered that the sword was stolen. He reported the theft to the King's Guard, and they activated the lockdown system. Shortly after the report, Leif Frege tried to speak with her father about the theft. William Frege reiterated that he did not want to be disturbed. Leif saw his face, and there weren't any traces of illusion directly on his body. This means that William Frege was still alive at this time. Unbeknownst to everyone at the time, William Frege was attacked by the murderer at 3:12 a.m. This is confirmed by not only Jan Hughes' testimony, but also by the autopsy report. Then at 3:26 a.m., the King's Guard found the sword of spell eating in my client's old room. The King's Guard tried to arrest my client for this, but the Crown Prince told them to stand down. Finally, at 3:36 a.m., the lockdown was lifted. Jan Hughes reported what he heard, and that's when the Inquisition and the King's Guard discovered the body. The theft must have happened before 1:23 a.m., when it was actually reported. In order to keep Baronath concealed at every step, my client would have needed to keep him invisible from 1:03 a.m. to 3:12 a.m. Not only that, she needed Baronath to wield the Sword of Spell Eating to ignore the effects of the anti-magic fields. This means he would need to be invisible for more than an hour. What's your point? My point is that invisibility has a duration of 1 hour. I'll admit my client could have cast invisibility before she met with the Crown Prince, but if she wanted to keep Baronath invisible, she would have needed to recast the spell at some point that night. And as you know, my client couldn't have done so during that night without the King's Guard noticing it. Your logic makes sense, but that can only mean that the defendant refreshed the invisibility right in front of everyone watching. In front of the entire King's Guard, the two princes, and Lucio Steelwind? As unlikely as it is the only conclusion I can come to. I had a feeling you'd say that, which is why we have a witness who can confirm that Beatrice didn't perform any magic that night. A witness? Your Honor, the defense would like to call Prince Ulrich to the stand.
I see. He would have certainly been close enough to notice the defendant casting magic. But wouldn't the Crown Prince's testimony be more suitable?
Are you trying to say that Prince Ulrich is unqualified to give proper testimony, Your Honor? Of course he's saying that. The kid is 7 years old.
No, of course not. Is the prince ready to testify? Oh, a spine, for Lord's sake.
Man, this trial is so weird. We have talking monkeys, we have demon familiars, and now we get a kid in the witness stand. Yeah, this is a wild one, and this isn't even the last case, by the way. This is the 4th one. There's still one more after this. Thank you for coming, Prince Ulrich. Could you please... Hold your tongue, knave. You will speak to me when you are spoken to. Oh, God. He sounds exactly like Miriam when we first met her. Honestly, he behaves exactly how we would expect the prince of this rotten kingdom to act. Aster's the odd one out in this situation. Makes you wonder what made him so down to earth.
Your Highness, Mr. Cuthbert believes that the defendant used her magic while she was with you and the Crown Prince.
I already gave my statement to the instigators. This man dares to question my testimony?
Yes, he said it, not me.
Wow, the judge didn't even think twice about throwing you under. But very well. If my testimony is required to strike down these redundant accusations, I will bestow it upon you. Redundant? Don't you mean ridiculous?
Mr. Cuthbert, do not dare to suppose what His Highness really means.
Hey, Kirby, what's up? Hope you're doing well. What's up? We're having a pretty wild case so far. We're getting a lot of, weird people on the witness stand. Well, you kind of expect that from a game that is strongly inspired by Phoenix Wright, yeah? Alright, let's continue. These boots must be shining from all the licking you're doing.
What was that?
Nothing. Not a lot, it's just warm here. Just wanted to check by on your end. Oh, I appreciate it, Kirby. Thank you for coming. You think Lady Freyga cast magic in front of me? Don't be a serf. She was under the careful watch of the Kingsguard, my brother and Lord Steelwind. We conversed for the whole night, and I didn't see her cast any magic. Okay, okay. See ya, Kirby. Take care. We'll talk to you soon, buddy. She's been through so much over the last few years, all because of her hard father. She'd never do something like this. You and Lady Steelwind are just jealous. He seems to be really convinced that he didn't see anything. But you doubt that he's intentionally lying. Celeste, usually when you cast Detect Magic, I can see magical energies overlaying your eyes. Yeah, there's always a visible magical effect on the target when I cast the spell. But Marunath was probably in another room. The Kingsguard wouldn't see the initial magic effect of invisibility. Even if there wasn't a visible effect in the room, she would have still needed to say the incantation and perform the gesture with her hands. Right, like how you shout Reperio Arcanum every time you scan a crime scene. I don't shout it. Anyways, she must have done the incantation a gesture at some point during the night. Did she ever get an opportunity to conceal herself to do so? Cross-examination. Celeste, what do you usually need to do to cast a spell? There are a lot of factors involved, honestly. Stamina and focus are a big part of it. Assuming that she's in perfect condition, what's the bare minimum that she would need to do? Well, she would have to focus her magic, say the incantation, and perform the gesture with her hands, all at the same time. Does sound pretty conspicuous, but she must have hidden it somehow. Alright, let's press him a little bit. He probably meant, don't be absurd, but there's not much to gain from correcting him. Okay, just a moment, guys. Alright. He probably... Okay, we read that. You may think the idea is absurd. You may think the idea is absurd, Your Highness, but the defendant was clearly good at keeping secrets. She could have easily concealed her actions at some point during the night. A brief moment to say the incantation and perform the gesture would have been all she needed. But I wasn't the only one watching her. But would they have really noticed her casting one spell? The Kingsguard are the most vigilant knights in the kingdom. They're trained to watch and counter a mage spell. But the defendant needed to target someone who was in another area. There would be no visual indication that she was using magic. She would still needed to perform the incantation and complete the gesture with her hands. She's pretty knowledgeable about the arcane arts. But as a Prince of Wyverngard, you suppose that's to be expected. If I recall correctly, you and your brother were with her until she was arrested for the murder. What did you speak about? She told us stories about what she did while she was away. She was researching something. I forgot what she said. Something about the old cult. You meant the occult? Yes, that's it. She was researching ghosts and demons. Considering who her familiar is, research must have paid off. Anyways, Your Highness, could you please add this to your testimony? If I must. You're clearly sympathetic to her situation, but you must have been a toddler when she left 5 years ago. My brother spoke of her a lot. He told me all about her. I could tell from his face. It was really sad that she ran away. Even if it's not romantic, Aster clearly cares about her a lot. The prosecutor must have complicated feelings about that. Well, I can't speak for Miss Steelwind, but I'm just trying to get the truth. Liar! You just hate her because she's a noble, don't you? Lord Von Sanctus told me about you. You just want to lock up nobles because you're jealous of how much gold we have. So he speaks with Von Sanctus frequently. And it actually explains a lot about his personality. Celeste, what do you usually need to do to cast a spell? Oh, that's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing that we talked about earlier. Fascinating phenomena.
Objection!
Nah, not this one. So should be the third one.
check the spells. Oh, it's 1 hour. Okay, okay, understandable. Let's see. Terra Knight speaking with them. Okay, let's see. Wielded by the creature. You mean this?
Objection!
No, not this. Gotta think about this a little bit more.
Objection!
No? That's not the one? Trying to think a little bit more. Told me of a fascinating one. I didn't see her cast any magic. Ah, yes, there's the gesture. Clap both hands together. There we go. Let's go. To cast the spell, a mage needs to speak an incantation. There's nothing that says you can't say anything before or after it. Your Highness, according to your testimony, the defendant told you that the occult are a fascinating phenomena. Is that exactly what she said? Word for word? Yes, the stories she told us were quite interesting. They really stuck a chord with me. I see. Well, even if they were interesting, her testimony proves that she did cast the invisibility spell that night. Are you deaf? I already told you. No one heard her say any incantations, nor did they see her perform any gestures. Unfortunately, your testimony proves the contrary. Beatrice Frege said an incantation, but was a gesture right in front of you, all without anyone even noticing it. What? Your Highness, there are two components required to cast invisibility. First, the caster must speak the incantation Occult R.A. and clap both of their hands together. As I'm sure you noticed, the defendant has a habit of clapping both of her hands to calm herself. Not that I think about it, that habit must have come from constantly casting the spell. The defendant requires Maranath to see, so she must constantly cast invisibility to keep him invisible. Cuthbert, you may have an explanation for how she hid the gesture, but she would have still needed to speak the incantation. However, she did speak the incantation. The witness's testimony proves it. What are you talking about? I never said that she spoke any incantation. Your Highness, the incantation for invisibility is Occult R.A. Now recall what you said in your testimony. She said the Occult R.A. fascinating phenomena. The pronunciation of that one phrase is identical to the incantation. I see. So she hid the incantation in her conversation. And because her target was a creature that was outside of the ballroom, one saw the magical effects. This means that Maranath had the means to murder William Frege, just as Eugene did. Having the means is completely different from actually having done it, Cuthbert. Very few people had the ability to shatter the display case to steal the sword of spell eating. And even fewer people had a familiar small enough to traverse through the vents. Which also makes Haraldson's familiar an equally likely suspect. Unlike my client's familiar, he admitted to breaking William's study that night. If your client's familiar is truly innocent, then why not have him testify before the court? I see.
Well, it's not as if he's the first unprecedented witness we had today. Is Marunath willing to testify, Miss Timora?
You see Tamora deliberating with Beatrice and Marunath. You can't hear what they're saying, but they're clearly in disagreement with each other. Marunath in particular seems to be the most vocal about his displeasure. Your Honor, unfortunately, Marunath is unwilling to testify. Why the change of heart? My client's familiar may be a demon. He's afforded the same rights as any other person. He's not obligated to testify. Look at Marunath and he's grinding his very sharp teeth together. For some reason, he appears to be looking at you with intense hatred. Why are they being so secretive all of a sudden anyway? A witness can refuse to testify to avoid incriminating themselves, but a refusal to testify is suspicious in and of itself. Tamora had no issues with Beatrice taking the stand earlier, so why should you change her tune when it comes to Marunath? Despite what she said, Marunath seems like he disagrees with their decision the most. Is it possible that he's the weakest link of the three of them? So he might be the key to implicating them. And according to the legends, demons take great pride in their ability to deceive and corrupt people. You wonder. I see. Marunath is well within his rights to refuse, if that's what he truly wants. It is. Well, I suppose it's for the best. I doubt he'd be able to corroborate your story at all. Marunath grinds his teeth together. It sounds like metal grinding on metal. Considering his diminutive figure, I don't blame him for being a coward.
Mr. Cuthbert, could you please refrain from provoking the literal demon?
Oh, it's fine, Your Honor. He can't do anything without his master's word. And between him and the defendant, it's clear that Beatrice is the brains of the operation.
You shut your filthy celestial mouth!
Marunath, what are you doing?
I will not stand here and be insulted by a bloody Heavensborn.
Heavensborn?
I am still within my contract. I will not flee from the likes of him. You want my testimony? I'll give you my goddamn testimony.
Objection.
Your Honor, my client does not consent to having her familiar testify. Tamora, didn't you say earlier that Marunath is afforded the same rights as any other person? He has a right to refuse to testify, but only he can decide if he wants to exercise it. And he's clearly intent on giving it. So, Marunath, why don't you testify about what you were doing on the night of the murder?
Gladly. I provided sight to my keeper while she spoke with the princess. I'll admit that she did cast invisibility on me during their conversation. She needed to keep me hidden after all. But I never left the room where my master was. Nor did I steal the sword of spell eating. You have nothing on me, Heavensborn. You don't even have proof that I entered William Frega's study.
Do you honestly expect us to take your word for it? Or do you have any evidence to support your alibi?
I only speak the truth, Heavensborn. There were mages other than my keeper that could have stolen the sword. And by your own admission, none of your witnesses saw me on the night of the murder. The one lacking evidence is you.
He has a point. You still need definitive proof that ties him to the murder. Presenting contradicting evidence might not be possible. However, he's clearly lying in his testimony. There's something strange about the way he's speaking. Why is he pausing so much? You're not seeing any thoughts through the eye. Perhaps you can try to interpret the meaning of his words. Provides... okay, let's see what he says.
Objection.
Your Honor, the witness's thought contradict the evidence. Oh, that's a generic one.
who can actually press him a bit. Is this something that you frequently do?
Yes, my keeper's accident had left her completely blind. She looks through my eyes to see her surroundings.
Did she look through your eyes while she was with the princess?
Yes, she did.
Took a bit of pause before answering your question. Wait, does that mean she normally casts invisibility every hour?
My keeper is a powerful mage, and my pact with her has only made her stronger.
Wow, that's actually really impressive. Really? Casting spells may look effortless, but continuously casting spells take a lot of stamina out of the caster. She must have a lot of stamina if she can cast a high-level illusion every hour. And did your master leave the room while she was with the princess?
No. I'm sure you remember, my keeper was under the careful watch of Kingsguard and Lucio Steelwind.
And you're maintaining that you never left the ballroom.
As I said, I never left the room where my master was.
He has a habit of pausing before he responds to you. It only happens sometimes. Is it some strange demon accent? Or is it something else? Beatrice was one of the few mages present that could shatter the glass.
Yes, but being able to do something and actually doing it are two different things.
Ugh, he's right. Won't be able to convict Beatrice until you can connect Maronath to the murder. You have a feeling he's the one who's going to give it to you. Why do you keep calling me that?
Oh, does the Heavensborn not know of the nature of his blood?
Your blood? Could you be referring to your mother? Wait, you know where my abilities come from?
Oh, how marvelous! You don't know, do you?
Make a pact with me, child. I can tell you the nature of your blood, and much more.
Mr. Cuthbert, please don't make deals with the devil in my courtroom.
I wasn't planning to, Your Honor. He clearly knows something. Making a deal with the demon is just asking for trouble. It could also just be trying to distract you. You should stay on task. He's definitely more direct than most witnesses. Yeah, but he's still clearly lying. There's something off about the way he's speaking. He pauses before saying certain statements. You need to interpret what the statement that seems the most suspicious.
Objection!
Yeah, not this one.
Objection!
There, that's the one. He keeps taking pauses before certain statements, but not all of them. More importantly, his word choice was different. Did he slip up? Maronath, it looks like you misspoke and used the wrong word.
What?
Through most of your testimony, you referred to Beatrice Frege as your keeper, but you referred to her as your master during one statement. Why is that? For the first time, he doesn't have a response. So I'll ask you again. Did you leave the ballroom that night?
I didn't leave the room where my master was.
He's using the word master again, even though you pointed it out. Why isn't he correcting it? Does that mean he's intentionally using that term? If so, why? Why is Maronath using the term master? There has to be a reason why. It should be... Maronath is not Beatrice's familiar. Oh. Oh, wait. William is... Maronath's master. It could be that? Could it be that? Could it be that? Could it be possible that...
Oh, no. Wait, hold on. Maronath is William's familiar. It could be that, right? There is a chance that he could actually be William's familiar. It might be a weird train of thought, but I have a good feeling about this. Oh. Okay, I guess we're gonna mention Beatrice is not Maronath's master. There we go. We take his words at face value. The master he's referring to isn't Beatrice. If Beatrice isn't his master, then his statement, "I never left the room where my master was," would technically be true. Why even bother making that distinction? He clearly has no moral hang-ups about committing murder. He could have just lied. Why would Maronath simply lie? Demons apparently pride themselves on tricking and corrupting humans. So why would he just lie in his testimony? Demons are not able to lie? Yeah? No, it can't be. Demons are clearly different from humans. Would they seriously have a limitation like that? It would explain why Timora and Beatrice were so opposed of having him testify. There's only one way to know for sure. Witness, can you repeat the following statement for me? Tyrion Cuthbert's hair is green. Kind of ridiculous request is that? Another pause. I'm afraid I agree, Mr. Cuthbert. Please don't waste our time. I'm just conducting a little experiment, Your Honor. So I'll ask you again, Maronath. Say the following phrase. Tyrion Cuthbert's hair is green. Your Honor, Cuthbert is clearly making trivial requests to stall for time. His request is not worth a response from the witness. That's not what I'm doing, Timora, and I think you know that. Maronath, we truly don't know how much about demons aside from the stories told in myths. So is it possible that demons are physically unable to lie? Damn it. I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but that seems quite ridiculous. Why wouldn't the witness be capable of lying? I genuinely don't know, Your Honor, but his testimony speaks for itself. Can easily refute it by granting my request. Say Tyrion Cuthbert's hair is green, witness. You said it yourself. Tyrion Cuthbert's hair is green. That's not what I asked for, witness. Repeat the statement I told you, word for word. Nothing after or before it.
Objection.
Your Honor, the prosecution's argument is absurd. Witness is not obligated to fulfill such an outrageous request. Might be compelled to agree with you, Mr. Mora. If the witness wasn't clearly avoiding fulfilling that request. Well, we're all waiting, Maronath. You can easily prove me wrong by repeating my statements plainly. Ah, you filthy heavens-born. Say it, Maronath. Tyrion Cuthbert's hair is... Tyrion Cuthbert's hair is... blonde. Well, technically it's a dirty blonde. Oh, shut up. Is Mr. Cuthbert correct, Maronath? You actually unable to lie? I think his silence speaks for itself, Your Honor.
Remarkable. I've never imagined.
And with that, proving my case becomes a much simpler matter. Maronath, did you murder William Frege? I'm sure I understand, witness. Under these circumstances, staying silent is basically an admission of guilt. You have no reason to stay quiet, Maronath. Tell him the truth.
Lady Beatrice, What are you? I believe it's time to come clean, don't you, Maranath? I see. So that's your play. Don't think you can just stall for time, Miss Freya. Maranath has no choice but to answer the question. Do it, Maranath. Tell the court the truth. To answer your question, yes. I did murder William Freya. What are you doing? Miss Freya, does this mean you are confessing to the murder? Oh, Your Honor, I'm not admitting to anything. This confession comes from Maranath himself. But your own familiar just... Let me ask a question, Maranath. Did I order you to murder my father? No, you did not, Lady Beatrice. What are you talking about? You're lying, aren't you? Demons are physically unable to lie, Mr. Cuthbert. Damn it, she's right. You must have done something. Did you plan for this? She must have arranged things so that statement would be technically true. She could have asked someone else to give the order, or she could have just implied it. Either way, she just can't plead ignorance and blame everything on Maruna. Still, this isn't over. Okay, oh, is that so? Let me tell you, the trial was over the moment Arya turned her blade against me. I don't care who you are, man, king, or demon, you're not going to get away with this. Oh, I do love the gravitas behind it, that. I wonder how long it will last. Hit me with your best shot, Heavensborn. Beatrice Frege, you may have not technically ordered your father's murder, but you were clearly acting with malice. You brought something dangerous into the manor, something that you knew would harm your father. Oh, really? And what would that be? I didn't bring anything dangerous into Frege Manor. What was so dangerous that implies lethal intent? This fella. You brought Marunath into Frege Manor that night. You were clearly planning to murder your father from the start. Ha! I require Marunath to see that does not imply lethal intent. You brought a demon into that house, and as a result, your father was killed. That's hardly an innocent mistake. My client specifically asked her father if familiars were allowed, and received a written legal confirmation beforehand. But he couldn't have possibly expected her to bring in a demon. He didn't specify not to do this. The presence of Marunath did not break any of his rules, nor any laws made by the kingdom. Right you are, Timora. I can be hardly blamed if my familiar acts without my knowledge. How can you be so blameless in Marunath's actions? He's your familiar. By that same logic, shouldn't we also blame Lord Haraldson for the actions of his pet monkey? I recall he broke into the study, tampered with the crime scene, and then left my father's body without reporting it. That's... Marunath and Eugene are the same intelligent and sentient creatures. They have their own autonomy. Their keepers aren't legally responsible for their actions. Damn it, she's playing devil's advocate. You suppose that's fitting for her. But you still cast invisibility to keep Marunath hid that night. Mr. Cuthbert, I always cast invisibility on Marunath. I can't very well let people see him. Face it, Mr. Cuthbert, you have nothing on me. I did not commit any crimes during the Lord's Ball. Every crime leading to the murder was committed by Marunath. Give it a bit of a think here.
Let's see. So she's pretty sure that she didn't actually do the murder at all, but I think otherwise. She's just blaming it on her familiar. But, trying to think of a good answer for this. Let's see. She didn't commit any crimes. But what about this? The sword, right? She did steal the sword too, right? Yeah, it has to be one of the swords. Let's try. Beatrice, Marnath required your magic to break the wards of guarding the sword of spell eating. May be able to explain why you cast invisibility that night, but you can't explain why you can cast an evocation spell powerful enough to shatter that display case. Oh, that I'd almost forgotten. I pled guilty. What? To the charge of grand theft, I mean. I ordered Marnath to help me steal that artifact so I could sell it on the black market. I never imagined that he'd use it to murder my father. Alright, it doesn't matter if she's found guilty of stealing the sword. Slayer rule only takes effect if she's found to be responsible for her father's death. Damn it, is there seriously nothing you can do? Marnath will take the fall on Beatrice's behalf. So which one of these three would we actually pick? I say threaten. Marna, the sentence for first-degree murder is death. Are you really willing to die for your keeper's crimes? Oh, you stupid heavens-born. Demons never truly die. When our bodies are destroyed, we return to the abyssal hells. Hell? If I were to die in accordance with your laws, I would only return to my plane unharmed. What? Even if I could die, a fate much worse than death awaits me if I fail. Those three are a pain to argue with when they're together. Can't break Beatrice's confidence at all. So, you have anything else, Mr. Cuthbert? I didn't think so. Your Honor, it appears we found the true culprit. I can't believe you killed my father, Marnath. I'm so cross with you. I should give my apologies. I won't do it again. Don't worry, I forgive you. Now then, is there any reason why this trial hasn't ended already, Your Honor? Come on, don't you have anything else? There is one thing. Damn it, not again. Oh, is that all you can do now? Glare at me? What? Marnath, What did you just do? Been watching him. He's been using an old celestial trick. But it is weak. Your divine gaze won't work here, Heavensborn. You! Looks like that was your last piece, Cuthbert. No, this can't be how it ends. Not after you've come this far. What is it you like to say in these situations? Checkmate, Cuthbert. Well, I have to say this is one of the more eventful trials I've overseen. It was many things, if not enlightening, but I suppose it all ended the same. Come on, think of something. Anything. I find the defendant's actions quite suspect. I must agree with their argument. Aside from the theft of Lord Haraldson's exhibit, none of Miss Frega's actions that night were illegal under Rivengard law. There's no proof that the defendant is responsible for her familiar's actions. With these revelations, I see no room for debate. We're taking a brief recess, and I will announce my verdict once we resume. Damn it! Is this seriously how it's going to end? After everything you've gone through to get here? The world is bleak, merciless, and unforgiving. But I've seen you. I know how bright the light within you is. Use my eyes. Peer beyond the divine gate as I once did. Marunath called you a Heavensborn, and your mother told you that there is a light within you. You have no idea what that means. What even is the divine gate? Why do you have the Eye of Horus? Why are you able to read people's minds? You've been so lost lately, but you thought you finally figured out who you were supposed to be. All of this, everything you've been working towards, was all a lie. You spent your whole life trying to be like Miss Tamora, but did she even like her? No, she just wanted to raise you into a tool for the Eye Taker. She was never your guardian. She was never your mother. Your real mother died years ago. Is Eris right? Is everyone in her life trying to use you? Looking back on it, you've had no idea what to do with yourself since your mother died. You've just been making mistake after mistake, leaving Aranax, trusting Tamora, becoming an attorney. You've always just done as you're told. You never once made a path for yourself. But you saved Celeste, and Wallace, and Dracogen. No one else would stand up for them. Was helping them a mistake? You fought for a dream that doesn't exist. That doesn't mean that you can't make it real. It's true that you followed Tamora's lead. You've always done what you thought was right above anything else. You wouldn't have stood up to that criminal if you truly didn't know right from wrong. And you wouldn't be standing here if you just done as you were told. What do I do? I'm not going to tell you that. You already know the answer. You've always known the answer. You take a deep breath and relax your thoughts. How do you prove that Beatrice ordered Maruna? Situations can seem hopeless sometimes. There's always a way to win in the end. Let's see. Testimony? Use testimony that... No,
on, we can't say a lie. We can't say that. Could it be this one? In order to convict Beatrice, I need to prove that she was responsible for Maronath's actions. People leave trails. Even when they think they've committed the perfect crime, something always gets left behind. There has to be something that proves Beatrice gave Maronath the order. Beatrice's relationship with Maronath is clearly different than a relationship between two humans. What is so unique about Beatrice's relationship with Maronath? There's a specific way their relationship works. Their crimes and mutual alliances. So, what are we gonna do here, actually? It should be a pact, right? There's a specific way their relationship works. Or their pact, as Maronath calls it. Isn't there something someone said? But what was it? Who told you something about demonic pacts? Oh, easy. That's Harold. Oh, right. The sword of spell eating is said to have been forged using a pact between a demon and a mage. Isn't making a pact with a demon just asking for trouble? They definitely betray you the first chance they got. Well, legend says that demons often blood contracts for this reason. Wait, you mean like a legally binding document? The concept is similar, but once you sign a blood contract, both you and the demon are magically compelled to fulfill its terms. That's right. Beatrice must have made a blood contract with him. A legally binding document like that must describe how the relationship works. Life did tell you that Beatrice would never trust someone she couldn't control, so she would only put herself in a situation where she had the full control over Maronath's actions. It's not as if they'll ever show it to me. It will be a tall order to even prove that blood contracts even exist. I guess you have a point. But if you ask me, we've done a wonderful job so far. So just this once, let me guide you the rest of the way. What? Tyrion, your eyes don't actually read minds.
They give you the means to reveal truths that are being concealed. You can pull the truth out of anyone and anything. Truth? So, say it together with me. Maronath, dweller of Avernus. Wait, what are you doing? By the eye of Horus, I issue upon you a divine edict. Release thy guards and manifest your blood contract with Beatrice Freya. You did it! But how? Is that really your... No, it's not important right now. She gave you what you needed. The rest is up to you. What in the nine hells was that? You! When did you learn to... Mr. Cuthbert, what just happened? Your Honor, this made the witness manifest their blood contract. You did what?
Blood contract?
You think of it as a legally binding document. Lays out the terms of the pact between Beatrice Freya and her familiar.
Incredible. But you learn how to do such a thing? The library? Wow. I think that our kingdom had access to such knowledge.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. How did you really find out how to do that? It's a long story. I'm not sure if she'd believe you, even if you told her. Anyways, the defense's argument is such. Maronath was acting alone and the defendant is not to blame for his actions that night. However, take a look at page 7 of his blood contract. It specifies that Maronath is prohibited from killing any and all humans. There's only one scenario where he can do, and that's when Beatrice Freya designated someone to be exempt from this rule. You. Beatrice Freya, you didn't directly order Maronath to kill your father, and implied it by telling Maronath that he could kill him. Not only that, you did so within the 24 hours of the Lord's Ball. And that is checkmate.
And just when I thought the surprises were over.
But in the end, we arrived at the truth.
I suppose I can't disagree with that. What do you have to say for yourself, Lady Freya?
Don't call me that. It's almost funny that you hate your name that much. Your entire plan depended on your claim to be the Freya estate. Do you have any idea what you've just cost me? Everything has been ruined because of you. Why should I care? Just another noble, trying to steal power for yourself. Don't you dare lump me together with those tyrants. You wouldn't have just liberated House Freya. You would have liberated everyone. Miriam, Leif, Arya, and even Aster. Our system is broken. The only way we can fix it is by burning down from the inside. As long as King Oliver sits on the throne, the suffering will only continue.
Lady Freya?
As the prosecutor, I should warn you. You don't want to add treason to your list of crimes, even though you'd like to see the king ousted as much as she does. Doesn't really matter. I'm done either way.
Heavensborn, look at page 46 of the blood contract.
By accepting this pact, Beatrice Freya forever binds her soul to the abyssal hells. If Beatrice Freya fails to pay her debt by claiming House Freya and all of its assets, her soul, her mind, and her life will be claimed by the Empress of Discord. Empress of Discord? Oh no! Oh no, Beatrice is just going to have kings almost every day. Every hour, every minute. And she can't get rid of them. The contract goes on to name several parts of House Frega's holdings. There's very little room for ambiguity. Aria was almost right. She just jumped to the wrong conclusion. My debts were never to the Eye-Taker. They were to the abyssal hells. Why would you agree to something like this? Because I miscalculated. In this folder are the records of your many plots against House Steelwind and the Crown. Be a shame if this information fell into their hands.
Think this feeble attempt at blackmail will frighten me? I've dealt with far more formidable adversaries than you. There's nothing I can't resolve with House Frega's resources.
What are you talking about? Lucio Steelman isn't the type of person you can just buy.
It's clear your time away has taught you nothing. Everyone can be bought.
Before I left, he controlled every aspect in my life. I saw him as this unstoppable, tyrannical force. Never even considered one possibility. William Frege was a sheltered moron. He honestly thought he could pay off Lucio Steelwind. Anyone who's met him would know that would never work. I could have sent this information to the House Steelwind and the King. I was running out of time. Needed to inherit House Frege as soon as I could. I felt trapped. I felt angry. I just wanted something to change. Something about this feels wrong. Something deep inside you is crying out in anger. Blood contract is still a legal contract, isn't it? What? If it's a contract, we can dispute it. We can find some kind of loophole to get you out of it. What?
Trying to redeem the enemy you just defeated? You really are a Heavensborn.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but I won't accept your help. What? Why? We can at least try, right? Did you seriously come this far just so you could die? Dispute the blood contract is to bet your own soul.
You fail to render it null, your soul will be dragged to hell alongside hers. When your divine blood won't save you from that fate.
But still, I can't just... You've beaten me, Mr. Cuthbert. I don't want to drag anyone else down with me. Not you, not Leif, not Miriam. Despite everything, I still have my dignity.
I believe there's no further need to prolong this trial. Bailiff, please escort Lady Frege and her familiar to a holding cell. I'll be passing my verdict shortly.
Hey, are you okay?
Yeah, as okay as I can be.
You still feel uneasy about how things turned out. Doesn't feel quite like the victory you were hoping for. Fought against the demons, and you can't help but feel like you lost. Cuthbert, we need to talk. What's done is done. If the boss isn't going to take kindly to what you've done today. I know it's a long shot, but if you talk to him, he'll... No. Cuthbert, this is serious. He's going to send people after you. Dangerous people. You can't just ignore this. Hey, how's the story? Did you prove her innocence? No. Nope, she was part of it. She sent her demon familiar in order to kill her father. It was complicated. It's actually pretty complicated, but yeah. Well, she's now in a holding cell. Yeah. She's about to get the verdict from the judge. We'll have to wait and see. How old were you when your real mother was executed? 10 years old? Timora was the adult in that situation. What did she do? Wait, the blind girl is also a criminal? She technically did do the murder herself, but she sent her familiar, which is a demon, in order to kill her father. She fed your anger and hatred for the nobility instead of allowing you to process. Timora took you away from your only friends and isolated you from society. As a result, you never formed any other relationships. She isolated you because she wanted to use you. Please just listen to me and shut up. Tyrion, how could you do this? How could you work with criminals? Cuthbert, everything you told me, all those ideals about protecting the weak, it's all a lie. Everything Commander White said about you is true, isn't it? I'm just trying to... I don't want your help. As you yelled to her, your voice echoes throughout the lobby. Several of the people nearby turned silent. I gave up everything for you. My childhood, my home, my happiness. I left it all behind to chase the ideal that you told me that you were fighting for. But it was never real, was it? You made me throw away everything, all for a goddamned lie. But I'll make it real. And I'll do it without you. Tyrion, She reaches her hand out to you. You step away from her. You never cared about me, did you? All you cared about was using the Eye of Horus. That's not... Shut up! I don't want to hear any more of your damn lies. Go away. Get the hell away from me. I never want to see you again. Without a word, she walks away from you. Tyrion. She reaches out her hand to hold yours again. She hesitates this time. Do you honestly think that Celeste will ever love you? I'm sure you understand now. Timora can only afford to pay her exorbitant salary because of my father. Already burned that bridge. So where do you think the Crimson Demon will go when you can't afford her services anymore? Do you think she has the luxury of playing around with you for free? Or did you actually think that she enjoys spending time with you? Tyrion, you have to look at this rationally. Any support or affection that she's given you has only been to keep you as an employer. No. What? I can't believe it. We actually won. Tyrion, Celeste, there's no way for you to avoid checkmate next turn. Just surrender. There. What about that? Checkmate. Checkmate. Damn it. Been acting weird since we arrived at Oranax. Does it have something to do with your mother? Please, just talk to me. I'm your friend, aren't I? Your hands are trembling. Why are you so scared right now? You feel Celeste holding your trembling hands from behind you. It's the same sensation you felt back then. Your anxiety fades and you take a deep breath. Not going to do that, Miss Timora. As she hesitates to hold your hand, you reach out and grasp it. She smiles at you as you take hold of it. She seems glad you didn't pull away this time. Without thinking, you pull her into a hug. Aw, that's cute. Huh? Sorry. Just really need this right now. Should I stop? No, it's just... People are staring at us. Who cares what they think? They're nobles. They're gonna hate us no matter what we do. You're still unsure of what you're going to do next. But perhaps you don't need to. Even if Timora's ideal was a lie. Hey, Celeste. There's been something I've been wanting to tell you about. Oh? What is it? It's hard to explain, really. I don't even know where to begin. But it's about an ability I have. I call it the Eye of Horus. Even if that ideal was a lie, you have the power to make it real. Even if you can't trust Timora anymore, you have people in your life that you can trust. Episode end. Alright, that's case 4 done. There he is, the Eye Taker. What a fine mess this is. The kid has completely and utterly ruined everything. As much as Timora hates it, we're going to need to put him in the ground. I don't think that would be necessary.
Sorry, love. I know you're fond of him, but I can't let an insult like this go unanswered. He's going to have to pay for the price.
I think you misunderstood me, Father. I meant this facade is no longer necessary.
What the hell? Is something wrong?
Father?
Who the hell are you? You look nothing like my daughter. So why?
It happened centuries ago, I believe. The great ancestor hated the monarchy and needed a weapon to fight the mages of the noble house. So he made a pact with me.
What are you talking about?
But things didn't turn out like he wanted, I'm afraid. Poor Lord Lyrion's plot was discovered. His noble house was stripped of its rank and status. His very name was stricken from the annals of history. He was supposed to give me Wyvern Guard, but I had to settle for claiming his bloodline.
Lyrian? How did you know about my name? No one knew about that name, not even my real daughter.
I know it's been centuries, but I haven't forgotten, John. Everyone in your bloodline belongs to me, including your daughter.
You bastard! What did you do to her?
What I do to all my prey.
Made her suffer.
No. Do you know that she was crying out for you for months? I made her watch, you know. I made her watch as I took her place. All while the father that she so desperately called out for forgot who she was. All while my minions slowly and painfully tore her soul apart.
You monster! Goddamned monster!
I enjoyed her torment while it lasted. Even that couldn't satisfy me. What I really crave is the blood of a Celestial.
That's what this is all about? That stupid kid?
But I can't have you kill my dear Tyrion just yet. At least not until I'm done with him.
You goddamn demon! I'll kill you!
This man is your enemy. Your life's goal has been to exact revenge on him.
What the hell are you talking about? I lost everything because of you. They kicked me out of the Inquisition because of your false testimony. What? Let go of me. You killed my entire family. I won't let you get away with this. What are you talking about? I didn't do anything.
Hey, isn't that the noble who killed all those children?
I heard he got released by paying off the judge. What are you even talking about? Get away from me! Don't lie to us. We know what you did. No, stay away. Ah!
We finally entered the final act, my dearest Tyrion. What I've seen, I think I know exactly how I'm going to break you. Hope you're just as excited as I am.
Damn. Holy crap. Yeah, when I said that she's going to be the central antagonist, yeah, she is up to absolutely no good. And yeah, that pretty much confirms that 100% that this heiress is actually a demon. Ah, man. That case was wild from beginning to start, and how it ended? Whew. I'd probably say this is probably the best case in the game so far. But we're quite not done with the game yet, because we have one more case left. It's called, and you know, it's the title drop, right? It's called Attorney of the Arcane. And you know what? I think we're going to start that one another time. Yeah, we've already spent like around 2-ish hours now trying to finish up case 4. So I'm pretty sure that case 5 will probably be a big one too, because case 4 already took quite a while. So yeah,
I think the next time we actually play this, we'll be starting the final case of the game, and we'll probably see the final clash between Tyrion and Eris, whoever she actually is. But yeah, thank you guys for watching today, either live or via the archives. Pretty excited on what's going to happen in the final case. But yeah, tomorrow I will not have a stream, but I will probably post up the schedule tomorrow. But there will also be a video coming out tomorrow. I'll probably try to finish it early in the morning, but yes, it will be the continuation of the past Dojin Dungeon stream, which is the second game we actually played on that stream, and it's as interesting as the first one. That's all I gotta say. I'll probably do the final touches and hopefully in the morning, and I'll probably post it later in the afternoon. So I don't know if I could say if you could look forward to it, but if you like some kusoge, then maybe you'll look forward to it. Yeah. Anyway, guys, please take good care of yourselves, and I will see you all very, very soon. Have a great night, evening, or afternoon, okay? Bye-bye.